Hi again then guys, and so we've got another special projects replica build for you today, and in this particular build we are replicating a higher performance version of the Caterham 7, and the particular model that we are replicating is the Caterham 7 R500 Superlight, which is one of the highest and most popular models that you can get of the Caterham Super 7. Now this is purely a mechanical tune. You cannot change the wheels or the bodywork on this car, and you can go for whatever colour you want. I've gone for white, but obviously it's a production model, so choose whichever colour you want. Unfortunately, we can't reduce the roll cage, or remove the roll cage I should say, from this car, because the real car does not have that roll cage, but there's nothing we can do about that unfortunately. So of course, we'll go straight over to the mechanical tuning garage for the setup, and then take it out to a racetrack to see if it lives up to the legend of a Caterham. Now, as always, of course, I do like to make my replicas and builds in general as PP relevant and as rounded off PP wise as possible, and we have managed to do that again with this car, as you can see, at the 590 PP level, which is pretty high. Now, it is more of a production and street based tune, so we've gone for sports soft tyres rather than racing tyres. I've left the brakes standard for that same reason. You want to have that authentic street feel. For the suspension, we've got the ride height on 60, front and rear, the springs on 475 and 275, the dampers and anti-roll on 3, neutral camber and toe. Now for the gearbox on this one, as with some of these other replicas unfortunately, it's very difficult to get the exact gears of the real car, because I was able to find the real gears of the R500 Superlight, but it's very difficult. I found it impossible. Maybe it is possible, but I don't have the kind of time to find it, to actually achieve all 6 of the real gear ratios. I was able to get the first 3, but then 4th, 5th and 6th are out of reach, basically. So what I've done is I've left the stock gearbox in there, because the difference that the R500 gearbox has isn't a huge difference anyway. It's a very similar gearbox. So I've opted to leave that stock, but if you want to try and have a go of getting the real ratios for yourself and seeing if you can get them with the gearbox flip, then by all means do so. As far as the diff, I've got the highest initial torque to bring the steering under more control. Acceleration and braking we've got as low as possible. We've left the clutch and prop shaft and flywheel, of course, standard for the same reason as the brakes. As far as power, the real car has 263 horsepower. You want an oil change on this one as well. We've got the sports computer, race exhaust, manifold, cat, intake tuning and the supercharger, and then we've reduced the power down to 97.9%. And as far as the weight, it's not quite as light as it can be on the game, because the real car weighs 506 kilos, so we actually have to add quite a bit of ballast to this car to achieve that, 137 kilos of ballast, and I've opted to put that 2% towards the front to allow us to sit at 490 pp, because if you take it even back a little bit, as you can see, you immediately jump up to 591. So that's it for the mechanical setup overall. Now let's of course take it out to a track to prove what it can do. Now, one thing I do need to make clear about this particular replica is that it is not for everyone. Many of my replicas are very easy to drive, they're very universally easy, they're beginner friendly, they're fun, they're competitive. This tune is not designed for racing, and it's not designed for beginners. It's designed to be what a Caterham is known for, which is fast and fun, but also more challenging than many modern sports cars. It's much more of a mechanical, down to your skill kind of car, and you can feel that with this model. Now, you may want to make certain changes to the diff, maybe upgrade the brakes for instance to make it feel a bit better, but overall this is much more of a challenging car to do an ultra quick lap with than many of my other builds, but at the same time one which certainly feels fun to drive. It's very easy to get the tail out, and you do need to brake a little bit earlier, which overall is appropriate for a road car. So if you want to see other special builds like this in the future, be sure to subscribe down below. But for now, thanks for watching.